Brian and Keo hanging out with you on 540 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com. 800-990-3776 is the phone number to get in. You can also tweet at us at ESPN Milwaukee. The biggest night in Wisconsin sports is here, Keo. Wisconsin Sports Awards' 6th annual event happening on Thursday night at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison. And the two big awards that are really up for grabs this year are Player of the Year and Breakout Player of the Year. Those are the two in Wisconsin sports at the WSAs every year that really people are paying a lot of attention to. Let's start with Player of the Year. Let's see if we can come up with 3 or 4 nominees for that award. I think the two obvious ones would be Aaron Rodgers and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Do you have any gripes or beefs with those two?
None whatsoever. I would definitely agree that they were the two most obvious nominees, and clearly, in my opinion, they're probably like, if it goes by teams, those are the two obvious picks. But then the question is, I know it's still early, but who would you possibly pick for the Milwaukee Brewers? And
sure. I think for the Brewers, I mean, the one guy that's had a really hot start to the season is who, right? It's got to be
Eric Thames.
Eric Thames. Huge start to the season. He's been mashing the baseball. So Thames we could certainly throw into the mix here. But if you go college basketball and the big college football team in the state, I think, let's pick one more here. Marquette, you would probably have to go with Marcus Howard, who led that team all season long. The Wisconsin Badgers basketball team is an interesting case to me, Keo, because throughout the regular season, I think I would have picked Ethan Happ.
Yeah, I would too.
Because Ethan Happ really carried that basketball team, but then come tournament time, I think the two guys that were carrying the team were the two big seniors in Bronson Koenig and Nigel Hayes. So, I mean, what do you think if you had to pick one of those three guys off the Badgers team? Who was the MVP, so to speak?
Well, if like you said, if I were to go by the regular season, it would have been Ethan Happ. But if I had to go by the tournament, I would probably go Nigel Hayes. Yeah, and yes, even though he missed those key free throws in the game against Florida, but if it wasn't for his game-winning layup against Villanova, they wouldn't even been in the Sweet 16. So I would have to give my props to Nigel Hayes if I were to go by the tournament.
So let's roll with those 4. Rodgers, Giannis, Marcus Howard, Nigel Hayes for MVP, best player in our state this year. It's up to you, Keo. Who wins the Wisconsin Sports Award for best player of the year of those 4? And more importantly, why?
Okay.
It's a really tough decision.
It is. And this might shock you, but by a narrow margin, I would go with Aaron Rodgers.
Nice.
And it's only just because I would have picked Giannis, but I just got to think, well, right now, Aaron Rodgers has obviously more playoff experience than Giannis. And yes, football and basketball are completely different sports, but going by like more experience in postseason play and that winning mentality, which Giannis has yet to get which I still think he will, but I would just have to go with Aaron Rodgers by a narrow margin. But if you were to ask me who would win in a game of one-on-one, clearly Giannis.
Giannis versus Aaron would be a fun game of one-on-one to watch.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing I think you have to keep in mind with Aaron this year, too, is people forget already that the Packers went on that unbelievable run, run the table run to end the season where they won 8 straight games, made it to the NFC Championship game. Obviously not the end of the season that they wanted, being crushed by Atlanta in the NFC title game, but still, Aaron was the catalyst for that 8-game winning streak that took them into the playoffs when, at the middle of the season, 4-6, that team looked lost, and he was able to pull them out of it.
Oh, yeah, by far. If we didn't have Aaron Rodgers, we'd probably be in the top 20 in the NFL draft for the past couple seasons.
Absolutely. So, Aaron Rodgers, your Player of the Year for the Wisconsin Sports Awards. Let's transition to Breakout Player of the Year. Now, this is a little bit different of an award because this is a player that's not as established, that has kind of burst onto the scene. Doesn't necessarily have to be a rookie, but a guy that's kind of had a breakout season. Let's try and spitball and come up with a couple of nominees here, Keo. I brought up Marcus Howard. In a conversation for Player of the Year, Homer, who hosts Homer and Gabe from 3 to 6 every weekday on 540 ESPN. He'll back me on this. Marcus Howard had the second best three-point shooting season in the history of college basketball. Not just for a freshman, but in the history of college basketball. He's my nominee for this award. Who else would you pick?
I guess for the breakout breakout star of the year. I would guess one of my picks would probably be once again, I guess Eric Thames, because like you just mentioned, who would have seen this coming? Especially he was just like in South Korea just last season, and now all of a sudden he comes to the majors and has this booming start. And I wouldn't be surprised if he could actually represent the Milwaukee Brewers in the All-Star game, but that's still a while away from now. But it would be cool to see him represent the Brewers at the All-Star game.
Or even how about this, like a home run derby? At bare minimum, I think an All-Star bid is certainly not out of the realm of possibility, but seeing Eric Thames in the home run derby, that makes that must-watch television for people in our state.
It would. It'll be like when Prince Fielder was in it. It'd be like almost like every year he was in it, he almost like won it. Mm-hmm. I still remember back in 2009 when he was at the home run derby, he actually went on to win.
Yeah.
And I wonder if anybody even picked him to win.
I doubt it. I doubt they did, but that could make for a fun event if Thames is there this summer.
Oh, yeah.
Another guy I think I might throw into the mix for Breakout Player of the Year. How about Malcolm Brogdon? Malcolm
definitely.
Brogdon, second-round pick in the NBA draft last year. Nobody really expected much out of him, and he may win Rookie of the Year in the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah, he was really – I did not see that coming. I mean, I thought coming into the season, he was just probably pegged as a backup point guard to Matthew Dellavedova. But then as the series progressed, Brogdon started improving and actually got the starting bid over Dellavedova for a while. Mm-hmm. And I'll say one thing. If it wasn't for Joel Embiid and Dario Saric, I would have gone out on record and say that Malcolm Brogdon would have been Rookie of the Year. And in fact, in my mind, if he probably would have had the award already had it not been for the NBA deciding to do an award show, but like after the NBA draft. Like, who's going to watch an NBA award show after the draft? I mean, even like most of the guys on TNT, mainly Charles Barkley, have gone on record saying this might not be a good idea.
It may not, but still. And once we talk about the home run derby being much-watched television, if Malcolm Brogdon really is in the mix for that award, that might be must-watch television for us.
Oh, yeah.
So let's roll with those three nominees. Marcus Howard, the point guard out of Marquette. Eric Thames, the home run hitting machine for the Milwaukee Brewers. And Malcolm Brogdon, the burst onto the scene rookie. Keo, you're making the decision. The breakout player of the year at the Wisconsin Sports Awards goes to? Oh, drum roll. I like it.
Okay. I guess Marcus Howard. I'm guessing mainly because nobody really expected much from Marquette this season, and for him to have that performance he did and allowed them to make it to the NCAA tournament as a 10 seed, mind you, but to go up against the eventual final members of the Final Four, South Carolina, again, who would also saw that coming. Right. But that was coming into that. Many people probably would have picked Marquette to beat South Carolina, but home court advantage might have played a factor in that. But regardless, great season by Marquette. Marcus Howard was a real contributor. Hopefully he's not. Hopefully he's going to stick around for a few more years, and then maybe Marquette could progress even further to a tournament.
Howard only 18 years old. So these are our predictions for the Wisconsin Sports Awards. Player of the Year going to Aaron Rodgers. Breakout Player of the Year going to Marcus Howard. The real awards will be announced Thursday night, Camp Randall Stadium in Madison. You can watch it all unfold on Watch ESPN and ESPN3. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock. Do not miss it. It's Brian and Keo on 540 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com.